Well, hey there, it's Jen.
And Elka, welcome back to the Jen and Elka show, where we are so happy to speak about the print-on-demand companies that we love working with, and that you will learn about marketing and strategy that has helped us create a long-term, sustainable, profitable business using print-on-demand. And today we are back for our fifth part of our seven-part series, and today's session is titled "The Business Model Behind 5K and 10K months in the marketplace stores." I don't know. We kind of made up all these titles. They sound fun. Okay. So when people hear about numbers like $5,000 and $10,000 a month, they often assume it comes from luck, virality, like going viral, or having a huge audience. So today, while you're as you're all coming on, let us know what you think about that. I'll say it again. When people hear numbers like $5,000 or $10,000 a month, they often assume it comes from luck, virality, which is like becoming viral with some sort of product that's a runaway bestseller, or having a huge audience. Who feels that way in the chat? Because I want to get people involved right off the bat. And if you're not involved, we have to get you involved because we're excited to have you here. And so today we're breaking down the business model behind marketplace stores at that level and why it's much more intentional and repeatable than most people think, because we're proof of that. And so are a lot of our clients. And this is the fifth part, as I mentioned, of our seven-part live series, and it connects directly with everything we've talked about so far. So if you've just joined us today, please make sure that you go back to watch parts 1, 2, 3, and 4, so that you can get all of the details, because, as I said, it's not just about finding one product that goes viral. It is about running a business that continually creates $5,000 to $10,000 a month in profit, not sales, profit. And that comes with knowing it as a business and treating it like as a business. And so we're going to talk about that today, because I'm sure there's a lot of myths out there that we need to dispel. And for anyone who's on, especially if you're someone who's brand new, you're probably thinking, oh yeah, these are scammers. We don't want to be called scammers, because we're not. And we want to emphasize that it's more about you believing in the possibility and knowing what to do to get there than it is about trusting whether or not this is true or not, because it is true. And then anyone who's on who is making $5,000 to $10,000 in profit in there's whatever print-on-demand platform they're using. But for some of the examples that we love to share, it's always about Zazzle. And if you don't know about Zazzle, put it in the chat and say that, so that we know for sure that we have to talk about that. But otherwise, we're really talking about print-on-demand in general, and that it's not just a cash grab. It is a long-term sustainable passive income online business. And the predictions for print-on-demand in general, like this past year in 2025, it was about a $10 billion industry. And by 2023, it's supposed to get to about 100 billion. So if you are interested and you want to build this into something that in less than 10 years from now has the opportunity for you to continue to basically 10 times your income, then this is where you need to be to talk about these high-level business aspects of running a print-on-demand business. And that's what we're here to do in this seven-part series. So how are we doing? Do we have some people on that are commenting already? Yes, they are. Do you want to get into that before we get into our first point?
Sir, we've got somebody says, I've watched 4 replays, so good and helpful. Thank you so much for sharing. It's going to involve some of that, but it's not all of that. Used to think that, but after working with you, I know it's not right. There are always some elements of luck, but you can't rely on it.
Yes. I love that that's what you said, cats and cat, because yes, it's very true. There always is an element of luck, but if you set up your business in such a way, you're actually accounting for that, because you're putting in some wiggle room so that it doesn't always have to work out. And instead you plan ahead and take extra actions so that some things are assumed to fail and others will not fail and move forward and actually become successful. And then all in all, it looks like you're running a successful business, but you've had wins and you've had fails, but you've had more wins than fails, right? Yeah. Okay. And I'm new to Zazzle, but I'm super interested in learning more. Love that you treat this as a business and not a side hustle. I love that. That's exactly what, yes, you've got the first piece. And once people realize that, and like obviously you've already said that you love that, and the next piece is just understanding what that means and how that happens, right? When you implement the things that you're doing every day, the action that you take, the decisions you make. Do you just do it quickly as like a hustle, or do you plan long term and expect different results, but expect longer and bigger, like larger, big and bigger results long term? Those are all really, really great things to handle in terms of your perception of a business that is print on demand, so that you can build it as a long-term business. Okay, awesome. Well, do you want to get into point number 1?
Sure, let's do that. Okay, so point number 1 is that these stores are built and not discovered. So high earning marketplace stores aren't just accidents. And we talk a lot about our top earners. We've mentioned them a couple times in these series, in the past videos that we've done. And the people who are making a lot of money on Zazzle, whether or not they are our clients and we know the ins and outs of their back end and what products they're posting, you can see that there's a lot of people on Zazzle who are making quite a bit of money because, first of all, you can see on their products that they have a lot of views. They're sometimes on the bestsellers list. And those people weren't just making money by accident because they randomly put up a product, right? And we've talked a lot about intentional products in the last couple of days as well. And it means that these people have done the research in order to actually make their structure of their store proper, their brand proper, and also posting products for sale, that they've done the research to figure out if somebody actually wants that product, if it's in demand, right? And they are designed intentionally from the beginning, from the beginning, right? And whether or not be that they were brand new on Zazzle and some people came into our community and our courses and they started out from scratch or from zero, or some people who are making a lot of money on Zazzle right now, who are our clients, they were on Zazzle prior to coming into our courses and they were really, really struggling because they didn't have a proper framework. And once they realized that they had to be intentional about learning what to post for sale, that's where they started making money, right? And so growth comes from structure and not just surprises. You might have a one-off product that is all of a sudden a bestseller and you're like, I'm not too sure how that happened and why that happened. That's where the luck comes in, and that's really lucky of you to have a product like that. But most people who are making quite a bit of money on Zazzle, and this title of our video is 5 to 10K Zazzle stores or marketplace stores, whether we're talking about print on demand in general, those people are making that amount of money because they didn't just randomly post a product for sale and they did the research.
Yes. And who can relate to that? And who can also just go like, oh, but that's what I thought I was doing, and yet it's still not working. Who can relate to that? Because if you're not there yet, it feels like an unattainable or unachievable place that these other people are, and you go like, oh, I just wish I knew what it was. And then the next thing that always happens is like, could you just share with us the stores of those people so that we can see what they're doing? And that is obviously a natural question to ask, but it's also giving you that false sense that it has to be external, not internal, as to who you believe as to who is possible to able to do this, right? I'm tripping over my words because I want to not upset anyone, but the idea here is that the solution is not to look at someone else's store. The solution is to look at what you can offer and marry it up with what's currently trending on the Zazzle marketplace in terms of bigger niches that you can go and compete in. And we're not talking about trends like that something's going to happen now that won't happen ever again next year. We're talking about the products that are constantly available on Zazzle in certain areas like business or occasions and stationery or home decor. And like even when you look on the Zazzle marketplace, you see all those. But then you don't realize that's a clue as to where you could step in as a Sazzle seller in order to be able to just say, okay, well, look at the designs that are being sold there, and you're not supposed to copy, but you're supposed to say, okay, I've just did a baby shower invitation for my, sister, and I actually understand why some of these designs are not as good as others. And I could also add something to this, because when I went through this, I actually had issues because I didn't have exactly what I wanted in order to make my sister's baby shower amazing. And then that's where you already have the intel so that you can jump on that particular niche, for example, and try to contribute in a way that's going to resonate with other people that are also in the same boat, so that those customers go like, wow, she really gets me, and I'm going to buy from her because actually she has exactly what I'm looking for. Okay, so when people come into this, they're looking at it from, I need to make money, but instead you have to switch it to, I have to serve the customer, because then that customer will be so happy to pay for the value that I've given them. Okay, and that's the huge shift that you have to make. And part of that shift is that you believe that you have value to give, and you do. It's just you don't believe it because you're desperately trying to make money right now. and maybe you failed already to some degree and you're just not sure what to do. And instead of going like, oh, well, I just chose something that didn't meet the mark, we instead go right to, well, I must not be a good designer, or I'm not cut out to make this money, or all, like, who resonates with any of these sort of thought patterns? Because as much as we're here to talk about a dollar value per month, the biggest issue for all of our clients that we've ever coached while we're doing this, and even with us when we were starting out, we had never envisioned that we could consistently make somewhere between $5,000 to $10,000 in profit a month, US dollars, and it's even better in Canadian because the exchange rate's always lower for us in Canadian. So, but getting paid in US dollars is really nice because it adds to our amount that we earn. And yeah, we never expected that because, and when we were first not doing as well, we had these exact same feelings that you might be feeling right now. So Vivian says, I do. And that's it? No one else is feeling that way? Okay, I can move on to point number 2. Or are there going to be some more comments in the chat? Because this is really important. And if you acknowledge it publicly, let's just say, even though this is on YouTube, so yes, it is public, but if you acknowledge it, then what happens is you start to deal with it. But if you don't acknowledge it, then it's not true for you, and then you can't fix it and you can't move on. Okay, so Me Too says, yes, okay, CG Penna 13, awesome. Okay, awesome, at least we have one more that's a converted person. All right, point number 2, income grows in layers, not leaps. So this is one of my favorite topics because it's the turtle compared to the hare race that you probably heard as a children's fable. And it's exactly that. It's the slow, steady building layers upon layers and not racing to the finish line by not even touching the ground and just leaping forward to see if you can get further than the other person. Most people expect income to jump suddenly. And in reality, scalable stores grow in layers, and each layer builds on the last. So if you jump, you aren't building the layers on which to grow and step on to get to the next layer that's higher up, okay? And the stability actually is so much better than creating a spike in income, because we experienced this at the beginning. Oh my gosh, we would try something and then one of our products would take off, and like some of my products literally made $10,000 profit for me just on one URL alone. Okay. And I'm going like, it's going to keep doing that. It's going to keep doing that. And I'm so excited. And as the profits were coming in, like I didn't know it was going to end at 10,000, right? I just kept seeing more and more money. And it happened over maybe about 3 to 4 months where it really started to take off. And I had like 5 to 10 sales a day on the same product. And I'm going like, this is going to happen for years to come. And then all of a sudden it stopped. right? So then I realized, well, this isn't a scalable, layered thing that's happening to me. Instead, it's a spike. And what happens when that spike is over? And yeah, it was over before I had a solution. And that's when I realized, okay, it's really fun. It gives you lots of adrenaline hits, and you're running around the house going like, I made another sale, and like ting, 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 and I'm printing money, and all of those lovely things that we can say to ourselves. And then all of a sudden it goes like, hasn't sold in a week, and it hasn't sold in a month, and you go like, well, what should I have done? Because now it's gone. That's all. That's finished. And it's the layered approach that's going to give you that chance to not just run around the house celebrating, but instead realize, okay, if I've built my business properly, then when something like that takes off, there are steps and processes and structure on what to do next so that you can capitalize on this. And this wonderful word that we always use called leverage comes into play, where you're not only enjoying the sales of that one product, but you're going to leverage those sales during the time that it's popular, so that you can even take things, and I don't want to like give it away, but there's then maybe other products that you make that also ride that wave. And then you've built a beautiful, large inventory around matching products, similar products, understanding why that design sold, so that possibly you can employ that same technique on something else. And all of these lovely layers that you're layering on that one bestseller then become the scalable part of your business. It's not that big leap that you made where you made a ton of money in one product, but it's the fact that you built your business knowing the knowledge of that one seller, and building around that one seller, but also giving yourself the ability to grow your business so that it's sustainable and repeatable. So you don't just have one bestseller like that one like thing that I was talking about. And I actually did that. That's one of the reasons why we're teaching it, is because this has been our lives on the Zazzle platform and our experience for the last 15 years. We've literally done this and constantly been able to provide that kind of income and results from those initial spiked leaps of and bounds. And then we realized, it's, if you don't want to get like heart attacks every time your one product stops selling, then you build that up in layers rather than always just trying for a leap. Okay. And Made by Anna Matilda says, does this happen often in season-based products like Christmas? Well, that's the thing. I'm talking about evergreen products that sell all year long. And yes, it does still happen with seasonal, but we don't teach that you focus and build your business on seasonal products. That's the worst thing you could possibly do. You've got to be able to have your business running and have these types of huge sales with products that are not seasonal, because the seasonal can come and go. And we've experienced that too. And that's why we also do that in terms of teaching evergreen rather than seasonal. Seasonal is like vacation money. Mm-hmm. The other one says, do customers only see other items from the theme category if they go to your store? No, they're all in the marketplace. So, but there's various ways that you can market your products together, like using collections and doing things on Pinterest or a blog or whatever to help people see your other products. But no, they're all in the marketplace. It's not that they have to go to your store per se. Okay. And I'm going to do, you're going to do the next topic, but maybe then I have to leave, right? Because I have another meeting in 10 minutes, but I'm just going to watch the time. If this is a live, and we've double booked. There's another thing happening for our membership, for our Profit by Design Academy clients. So I'm going to be hopping off at the bottom of the hour. So if I just disappear while Jen's talking, please don't think I'm rude or that my connection's lost. And she's going to take it all the way to the end. And I hope you have a wonderful discussion if I'm not on at the end. Okay.
Okay. All right. So the next point is that Repeatability matters more than viral wins. So viral moments feel exciting, of course, like if you are capitalizing on certain trends. And or funny enough, there's this one story. We do have some new people on, so maybe it's not something that you'll know or remember or even be privy to. But there was this one, I'm going to call her a woman slash girl. She might be my age or a bit younger, but she posted a video on TikTok about this t-shirt that she made on Zazzle, and it said, "I heart my girlfriend." She made it for her boyfriend, and it had a picture of her face inside this big heart. And she told the people on TikTok that her boyfriend had to wear this to university or whatnot so that he knew, or people knew, that he wouldn't be taken by other women. And she posted this product on Zazzle. And funny enough, she didn't really have a very big store. Her brand was all over the place. Like, I don't even think she had any profile pictures or banners or anything. And she only had this one product in her store. And she somehow added the link to TikTok because she did have a big following. And this product blew up on Zazzle. And her TikTok video got, 1 million plus views. Her product was on one of the bestsellers lists for a really long time. This was a couple years back. And funny enough, she made this product and it actually wasn't even really customizable. It wasn't even a proper product by template wise on Zazzle. And so this product became viral, and I'm not too sure how much money she made off of it, but this product had over, hundreds of thousands of views on it. And people were trying to buy this product. And then people obviously started to make knockoffs of it or versions of it on Zazzle because this was the first of its kind. But that being said, it was just a viral product, and she didn't even really make it properly so that people could buy it. It was just that it got a lot of views. And this was just so happened that she posted this random TikTok video, right? If she hadn't posted this TikTok video, then most likely nobody would have found it or even thought of looking for this. And so it was a fluke, right? And it's very unreliable. So not that that's going to happen to everybody, but it's just this really cool example of what happened to somebody based on certain circumstances. Okay. So obviously that must have felt very exciting for her. I don't know how much money she made. She's not one of our clients, but it was, dominant on TikTok and also on Instagram, and then also on Zazzle, that it was seen as something that was very popular. All right. But that's just a one-off thing, right? What really matters is knowing why something works and being able to replicate it, and or understanding why something is working and how you can actually capitalize that and make, whether it be matching products or put it in a proper collection and or promote it properly and efficiently, or make different versions and variations of that. And we spoke about that in some of our other videos, where if you have a product that's working for you already, why is it working, and how can you take the information from that product, the statistics, the analytics, and translate that into something else that could potentially be very similar, or a matching product, or a grouping of products, or even the concept of it, right? It doesn't have to be the same design. It could be thinking outside the box, saying, this is a product that's working for me. How can I translate that into something else that's maybe a version or a variation of a different design, but I know the specifics, right? What the product type, the design theme, the purpose of it, and there's obviously a demand from customers. And so understanding the knowledge behind each product and interpreting that to effective work and strategic action in your store, because repeatable systems create predictable income.
Yes. And is that the end of your point? Because then you might as well do the next point, because I think I'm going to run out of time before I.
Sure.
But yes. So make sure you keep commenting. Jennifer's not as bold and keeps saying, like, comment or we're not going to talk anymore, because this is an interactive. Otherwise, we could just record these. And we love the interaction. We love being able to hear and see where you're at, so that you can also benefit from this, and we can tailor our conversations to give you that insight. We have almost like 18 years of insight as sellers ourselves, and it's coming up to 9 years of coaching. And we just are so thrilled that we keep finding new people that want to succeed on all these platforms, including Zazzle. So,
okay. Well, we will see you later. You can go on in your next meeting, and we will stay here for the rest of the points here that we're going to cover. And like Elka said, comment in the chat and we will have discussions, because this is why we're doing these live videos, to keep interacting with you. Okay. Are you heading out?
I'm trying to.
There There we go. All right. Okay. So next point is that these stores, whether that be on Zazzle or any print on demand store, prioritize clarity over creativity. And I want to take that with a little bit of a grain of salt, because definitely we are all creatives, right? We are on, most of us on the Zazzle platform, because we like creating things. I'm a designer at heart. I didn't do graphic design before, but I was physically making jewelry and clothing, and I was studying fashion. And so I am a very creative person, and so is Elka. She did watercolor and painting, oil painting, acrylic, all the things under the sun. So we have those creative bones in our body. However, we want to make sure that the creativity doesn't overpower the sense of clarity that we need and the sense of direction that we need, right? Creativity still matters, but clarity matters more. Knowing what is selling and why things are selling, and understanding your perfect customer and or your perfect avatar. That's why we talk about niche all the time. We talk about perfect customer, because if you're just being creative, like myself and Elka were at the beginning of our Zazzle journey, starting out in our Zazzle stores, was that we just had fun designing whatever we liked. And unfortunately, that always doesn't translate into income. It might translate into fun time spent, but is it actually something that people are going to buy? And unfortunately, if you are a designer by like graphic design, then maybe you have a little bit more of insight on in terms of like computers and how that works with the designs that are popular. But if you're an artist, like a watercolor artist or a photographer, it's a little bit harder to translate those things that you take passion into having other people also take passion into it. And we've seen that a lot with some of our clients who have predominantly started out their Zazzle business by doing photography and also their own artwork. You have to take out your artist ego and say, is this something that actually somebody will want to buy? And is it something that is going to sell, right? And Coastal Creative says she's going to elevate with Elka too. So yes, you can definitely sell your artwork on Zazzle and be creative, but make sure that you have that clarity associated with it as well, because clear positioning makes it easier for buyers to say yes. And confusion kills the conversation, and confusion kills the way that people will interact with you in your Zazzle store, right? And I know that Zazzle is changing and shifting the platform in terms of what's being sold and what's popular. There's still room for creativity, obviously, but you have to be creative in the sense of understanding the marketplace and how that creativity can turn into potential income. Does anybody resonate with that? Whoever's online with me. I'm going to wait for a second. So I know that a lot of people use photography in their own artwork in certain designs, but it's a bit harder. And we do teach people how to do that. But we know that it is something of importance to understand the clientele that you are catering to. And we've got lots of people saying yes, 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 obviously, absolutely. Okay, wonderful. Yep, great. We've got lots of people interacting now. Amazing. Okay, so I definitely agree with that, because at the beginning of my Zazzle career, I was obviously still in school. I was in, getting out of high school, transitioning into university, and I actually uploaded some of my high school grade 12 art projects. They were sketches of, and I randomly decided to do a sketch of a frog. And it's still actually available on the Zazzle platform in one of my main stores that I have hidden since then. And it's not really accessible. And then I tried to do graphic design, but it was like this old school clip art design that was really, really horrible. There's a picture of a duck and it says the word quack next to it. I don't know what I was thinking. But see, I was just having fun and being creative. My design skills have definitely up-leveled since then. But at the beginning, it was more so that was the focus of what I wanted to post for sale, because I had no idea what the intention of was for my designs. And I wasn't really doing the research. Plus, the Zazzle platform has changed since then, since 2008. You know, the artwork and things that are available are a lot more in depth and definitely a lot more professional than what was posted for sale back then. But you still have to think about that. Okay. All right, coming on to point number 5 is focused product ecosystems outperform scattered stores. And product ecosystems being the collection of your product organization in categories and collections, and focusing on that they are focused, right? And making sure that they are structured properly rather than scattered ones. And this in relation to people who have been on the Zazzle platform for a really long time, coming back to one of our videos that we did where we said, I think it was actually yesterday, sorry, more products equals more sales. And that's not true, right? You don't want to have all the niches and all the product types and all of the designs and all the things, because it just becomes scattered. And I kind of equivalent it to like a really, random dollar store, convenience store that has everything. There's one actually across the street from my house. They're wonderful people, but it's a convenience store on the highway. And because we're in a rural area, they literally have everything. And it's overwhelming because it's, from lottery tickets to, to beverages, sort of like pop drinks and soft drinks, to onions and apples, to fireworks, to earrings, to fishing wear, to, paper plates and napkins, to cleaning solutions and supplies. And you walk in and it's so overwhelming, and all the shelves are stacked from top to bottom, and you don't even know what to find. I'm sure half of the stuff in there is expired because there's so much stuff in there that they probably don't go in and clean out their inventory every day. And as I said, they're wonderful people. If there's ever an emergency, because we're in a rural area, you could probably find, up to I was offered squid jigs the other day, like to go squid fishing. And I'm like, I don't need that. Why would you even have that at the convenience store? So if you're doing that, right, and offering everything, it just becomes overwhelming. I actually don't even really like going in that store because it's just too much stuff to even think about or to see. It's not structured and it's not easily accessible. Like if I were to actually want to find something in that store, it's very hard. Okay. And so focused stores outperform the scattered ones. And although people most likely will find your products on Zazzle by searching for whatever they're looking for, if they actually end up going to your store or wanting to find more about your brand and or finding a product, let's say that they landed on one of your products and they wanted to look at a collection of products that's in that collection. If your collection isn't organized and focused and it's all very random as well, then it's overwhelming and they might shy away from buying from you because it reflects on your brand and reflects on your store. And interestingly enough, I've had some people comment and tell me that because their product is amazing and searched for, and it's searched for in the marketplace, when someone goes to their store, if they have a scattered store or unfocused store or not a defined brand, people actually shy away from buying from them because they think that this person actually owns Zazzle, right? I've had so many questions, even in my own private chat, where the customer is messaging me saying, "Hey, can you ship this thing earlier because my party has been, my party's been postponed, or my party is coming after earlier, or I need this by this date because something is happening." And they don't realize that I'm not actually the owner of Zazzle, right? They think that this store that they've landed on is me as the store owner. And so your brand really reflects that image, right? Just give me a second. I'm going to turn off my heat. It's very warm in here. Ooh, there we go. So understanding that your brand and also the organization of your store is extremely important when it comes to selling on Zazzle. Okay. Let's just see here quickly. Guilty of doing this, but once I signed up for coaching with Jen and Ilka, I focused. Awesome. I have one of those stores. Sometimes imagine my store as a physical to help me see if it's cohesive. Yes, that's a good idea. Definitely. We've got yes, and you might cover this, but does researching what items sell, like you're talking about, does that include on platform research or researching outside of Zazzle too? Well, it's very different on Zazzle versus, let's say, on Etsy or on like Shopify, Printful, all those places. It's best to do your research first on the Zazzle platform, because Zazzle clients or customers who come to Zazzle are a different person than the person who would go to Etsy. And Zazzle customers are different than a person that would go to Vistaprint or would go to Printful, etc. And so Zazzle's done its market research and understands what products to promote on a homepage, what products to promote in their newsletter, what products to promote on their landing pages. And so doing the research on Zazzle is your first priority. Secondly, then obviously we just released a video, and it's coming out actually this weekend on YouTube, where we did a summary of certain trends that are happening throughout the entire year. And those are generic things that are happening in the world. So certain events like the solar eclipse, for example, and elections. And so those things are outside resources that you can use to say, okay, this could be potentially something that I could have in my store. But that being said, those niches that we're going to be speaking about in that video that we recorded that will be coming out on Saturday are generic, and they're also seasonal or event-based, right? And so doing your research on Zazzle for those evergreen products is very important. Okay. We've got categories and collections means events that products are related as Christmas, Valentine's, or to the purpose of the product. For example, pets, pet owners, for pet lovers. Okay. So we've got collections. There's different types of collections, and unfortunately, I can't dive deep into that right now because that's not the topic of this video. But collections could be a collection of a browser collection, which we call it, which means that you have a selection of products that have a certain theme to them. So for example, if I'm interested in playing pickleball, but I don't know what pickleball paddle I want, then you could create a collection of pickleball paddles with different designs on them that are still similar, right? You're not going to have, let's say, a very dark gothic design and then have a very cutesy glittery design on pickleball paddles, two different paddles, and put them in the same collection. So you would have, let's call it a retro themed pickleball collection. That means if I like retro and I like pickleball, then I'm going to go and browse through these groupings of pickleball paddles. Okay, then the other version, and that's just, let's say, in association with a product type, but there are browser collections of other things as well. It could be just one product type, or it could be multiple product types based on, let's say, sports related equipment, or if it's all to do with home decor accessories. Right? There's multiple different types of collections. The next collection is called a buyer collection, which means that somebody is already more or less committed to buying something, and you're giving them matching accessories to that so that they have more to their order rather than just buying one product. So I like to associate it with the easiest one is a wedding collection, because then you have the wedding invitation, you have the RSVP, you have a sticker, you have the envelope, you have the menu, and that's just the stationary things. And then you can go into the decor options for the wedding party and ceremony, etc. So there is some research that you need to do for collections. Elke and I obviously teach a lot about collections in our course, in our Profit by Design Academy, but unfortunately I can't just give you one big answer right now because they're all very different depending on what products we're talking about and what designs we're talking about. Okay. All right. The last point that I have here is that the owner thinks like a business builder and not like a seller. And this is a big one too, because we always call ourselves Zazzle sellers, but we do like to refer to ourselves as Zazzle business owners, and a business owner, not just a hobbyist or not just a designer. And I use the word just, which is so funny because I've heard a lot of people say that. So coming back to like the word and the verbiage that I say is like, we're not just Zazzle designers. Excuse me, I hit the mic. We are business owners. We are, CEOs of our own company. We mentioned that a couple of days back in our other videos, is that you have to think yourself as something higher than you actually perceive yourself right now. Because at this level, the biggest difference is mindset, right? If you call yourself a business owner, it means that you are really, really taking charge of who you are as the CEO of your business, as the business owner. You're sitting down at your computer like I am right now and thinking to yourself, okay, how can I act as a business owner? What are the decisions that I need to make that are important for my business? Because it's not just luck. Bringing in that point that we talked about before is that if you're just posting on Zazzle and having fun and hoping for the best, then you're just basing your sales on luck or on hope, which we also touched on one of the other videos as well. Hope is not something that you can rely on, neither is luck. And so you need to think about it as a business owner and shift your mindset. And this means that decisions that you put into your Zazzle business are made strategically and not emotionally. And that's a big one too, because if you fearful that your Zazzle products aren't selling, and like Elke said, you have, what did she mention just in this video? She's like, if you're having a meltdown or something because one of your Zazzle products isn't selling, then you're taking it emotionally, right? That's the emotion that's setting in. You're saying, oh, nobody likes my designs. I'm such a bad designer. I can never do this. I can never make it work. And it's also a lot to do with the external factors too. We touch a lot about this in our mindset calls that we've done previously within our courses, where outside perspective, right? Whether it be your partner, whether it be your friends, whether it be your community or neighbors, if you tell them hey, I'm trying to start an online business and this is what I'm doing. And they say, you're crazy, or that's never going to work, or what are you doing with your life, or why are you throwing away your career, or all those things. That's emotions that you feel and that are negatively associated with your Zazzle store. And so same sort of deal is that if you are seeing the reflection of that you're not selling, or that one of your products stopped selling, or that something happened, I don't know, whatever negative thing in your Zazzle store happened to you, then you're taking that emotionally, and you have to understand how to take it as a business owner and understand, okay, well, something's happening, something is going on. How can I fix this? Take it without the emotion and understand the numbers or the analytic side of things and make a change and make a strategic business decision to pivot. Okay. Rather than saying it's never going to work. I'm never going to be good enough. I'm never going to make money online. And then on the flip side of that is that emotionally as well, you can say, wow, I'm making a lot of money and this is awesome. And your store is making a lot of money. And then as a business owner, you might not think, hey, I need to keep this momentum going and I need to understand why things are selling and why I am successful. A lot of people just let it ride, right? And they're like, hey, it's working. This is awesome. Okay, on to the next thing. But if you lose track of even the things that are working, then unfortunately sometimes they slide and they go away or they stop working. And you can't just take success as, okay, everything's fine, right? And I've seen that with so many of my clients where there's one product that's a runaway bestseller. And there's this one lady that I worked with as a private coaching client, and she had this baby shower invitation that was making her a big chunk of money every month, like upwards of almost $4,000 a month. And she said to us, she was like, well, it's working, right? And I don't need to worry about it because I'm still making money on this product. Well, unfortunately, if that product stops selling, then she's not making any more money because that was the predominantly the only product that was selling in her store. And although it was making her a lot of money, if that stopped selling or if that didn't become a trend anymore, then there would be nothing else working for her. And so we had to teach her and coach her, hey, even though you're seeing success right now and it's amazing and we can still capitalize on this, it's not that it's going to work forever. And we have to make sure that you have extra income coming in that's not solely based on this one successful thing. Okay. All right. And lastly, that shift changes everything. That's my closing statement for that point. I was reading all the comments in here. Wonderful. Okay. Can you just give us a design trend that you think will hit hard this year? Well, design trends, we've talked, there's a YouTube video or a series of YouTube videos that are coming out, and I don't want to repeat myself, but we dove deep into the wedding design or the wedding guide on Zazzle. So if you want to look that up, there is a wedding guide on Zazzle, but we've done multiple videos on that talking about what design themes and trends focus on for weddings. It really, really depends on your niche and where you're trying to focus on, whether that be graduation, whether that be weddings, baby shower, whether that be the political aspect of everything that's happening this year, whether that be design trends for Christmas coming up. So I can't just give you okay, the color green is in. It's not that easy. You have to have more of a specific thing that you want to focus on. So watch out for those YouTube videos. I highly recommend that if you aren't in the wedding market, that you definitely do some research to get into the wedding market, because the wedding market is super lucrative on Zazzle. And there are certain themes that are following through with last year, which was the handwritten whimsical design. So handwritten script and then the handwritten graphics, and then also the cottagecore. And then there is this new sort of theme with more so like the Bridgerton feel. So the vintage ivory lace and that intricate sort of trellis look. And also the blue china. I can't remember exactly what it's called now, the toile or the like coquette sort of thing, but it's the blue china pattern, especially for weddings. Coming up after that, graduation, sort of the retro theme was big last year. I like to think, though, in terms of trends, those are things that you can definitely make quite a bit of money on if they're popular, but you also have to think about evergreen as well and how you can make a product that is within those seasonal things like weddings or graduation or, holidays that can consistently sell year after year. And it's something that is very basic, but also modern, let's call it that, and also adheres to the generic public, right? Because if I don't like the color pink, and pink is trending this year, then unfortunately you're cutting out a certain portion of people who are picking this color pink that's, a hot pink or a hot red. And if those people don't like that color, or your avatar doesn't like that color, then unfortunately you're not being able to speak to the generic public. So there is a balance of what trends are and how you can utilize those trends and capitalize on them. But then at the same point in time, doing your research for evergreen products and making those products that are generic so that you can sell to a greater population. Okay. All right. When you talk niche, if you do home decor, do you have to stay in decor? Can you also do stationery as well, or mix up or anything? Yes. Okay. So for example, I always recommend to my clients start out with one main niche, and that being whatever it may be. But niche can also be a type of style. Okay. So for example, I have in my store, I started out with weddings, but then I've branched off into decorations and home decor. But decorations are more or less associated with the wedding niche, but I'm still designing on those home decor products, but they are associated with my theme. Okay. I've also then gone into, let's say, because my avatar is getting married, that was where it became from. Then potentially they'll maybe move home because they are getting married, and then they're hooking up with their partner and they're buying a house together. Second thing is that maybe they're going to plan to have a baby. And so I've moved into baby shower. And of course, wedding comes with bachelorette and bachelor themed parties. Then, of course, you can move into the Christmas market, because if they are doing their first Christmas together, so newlyweds. But then my store morphed over the last couple of years, because I'm not ever going to tell a client to focus only solely on home decor unless their heart is set on it, because it's actually better to have not a china shop. Like when I said like there's a bull in a china shop is like where everything is in there and then the bull's just like destroying everything. But like my convenience store across the road, there has everything in there. So I don't want you to get to that point, but where I'm going is that I realized that I could spread myself over all these bunch of niches, right? But have the same sort of theme or flow with it, because it makes sense with my client's journey. And my theme of the designs are very similar. So I like whimsical, I like girly, I like light colors. I'm not too much in the dark or gothic or even darker colors. And so that's how I justified my niche, is that I actually now morph my niche into my design and the way that my design style is. And it's a lifestyle of the way I'm presenting my products. Okay. And so you can definitely mix things here and there, but it has to have a focused desire and a focused design theme. Because I don't want you to have photography in your store and then all of a sudden have these really cutesy graphics that you bought off, and they're watercolor graphics. And then I don't need you to have gothic in there. And then all of a sudden I don't want you to put in politics and stuff, because that would just be like a complete mess of a store. But if you have a specific journey that your perfect customer is following, you can play and bend the rules a little bit in terms of the style, right? You could create clothing accessories for a mom who had just had her baby, but previously you created wedding invitations in your store, because you are able to have that as your theme, right? Okay, how about Target or Walmart? They have everything. Yeah, but Target and Walmart, those are department stores. Like you go there because Walmart is Walmart. They sell groceries, they sell pharmacy goods, they sell clothing, they sell toys, they sell cat food and dog food. It's like Walmart is Walmart, right? That's not the customer that comes to Zazzle. The Zazzle customer is somebody who wants something that's customized, and it's a personal item, and it's something for probably a special event or occasion, right? The person who goes to Walmart could be a person that comes to Zazzle, but the person who goes to Walmart is the Walmart customer, right? They know that it's a one-stop shop, and maybe they're pressed for time. They're shopping on a weekend because they're working 9 to 5. They just need to go and get their groceries, go and get their gifts for Christmas, go and get everything. So like it's you're comparing apples and oranges at this point in time. It's completely different. It's a department store versus an online, I call it like a boutique shop, where you are a designer and you're curating products that are meant for a Zazzle customer. And you can definitely create and do business cards, and you can do, tote bags and yoga mats and all of those things. But I would have it as a cohesive look because you're not just providing everything for everyone, because unfortunately you're just going to be wasting your time. So you have to do your research. I mean, there are shops on Zazzle that sell Gothic related items, and they do sell, right? But that's a different customer who's going to buy a Gothic related wedding invitation versus a non-Gothic wedding invitation that has florals and roses and glitter and pink and purple. Okay, so there's two different things there. And of course, it takes time, and it's your own journey of doing your research. You could potentially move forward into that. But for starters, like, you just need to have a focus, because if you don't have a focus, then you're not going to focus anywhere, and it's going to be too much. Okay. All right. So our closing point is that if this level of income feels possible, but still a little unclear, it's normal. What separates store that reaches this level of income from those that don't is structure and guidance. Okay. And that's a big one, right? I can't give you a $5,000 to $10,000 strategy here on this YouTube live. That comes with a lot more planning, a lot more diving deep into your store, a lot more of beginning of structure implemented into your Zazzle business. That's why we offer our Profit by Design Academy, why we teach and mentor our clients and have them put in a base level of products in their store and do the research first. And it's not just about posting products for sale. In our Profit by Design Academy, we get you to research your perfect customer. We get you to research your brand. We get you to research your niche, understand what product types are in your niche, what design styles and themes are in your niche, your design skill sets. And if you're able to, design at that level and be comparable. And so each and every single one of you who are asking questions like, what's the biggest design trend? What products can I post for sale? It's so much larger than that. It's not just about asking that one question. It's about really doing the research and getting the help that you need. And like I said, that we have taught people how to create an income between $5,000 and $10,000 a month. We have clients like that, but it didn't happen just from one, video that they watched, or it didn't happen from us just giving them one bit of advice. It happened with working with them and having them go through our courses and having them understand what's the structure that needs to be put into their Zazzle store, because it's not a one big answer. It's very much different based on every single person, because each person is individual and unique, and you all have certain design skill sets, right? And it's not just about copying. We never tell anyone to copy designs on the Zazzle, on the Zazzle platform. Copying is illegal. So if you do see a design theme that you want to get into, for example, with weddings, and let's say there's this handwritten script and handwritten graphic trend that's happening right now, this whimsical French-inspired theme, it is popular on Zazzle, and there's nothing saying that you're not allowed to go and post products like that for sale. But what I'm saying is that you take the concept of the design theme and then you utilize your own skill sets and make a different version. Okay. And that's how you stand out, because you're offering something different and you're not copying. And plus, Zazzle will take your store down or remove your products if you copy. Okay. And so the plan for a $5,000 to $10,000 business model is understanding that there needs to be structure, and there needs to be people to teach you and guide you in terms of how to implement those certain strategies into your Zazzle store. Okay. All right. To wrap up, because we have been here for a while, I wanted to say, I mentioned the Profit by Design Academy a whole bunch of times. We are opening up enrollment, and so we are doing a new cohort in February. So if you wanted to dive right in today and jump into that and already start doing the actual pre-recorded material before we do our live month-long boot camp to help you walk through building 100 products in your store in that month of February, you can go to elkaclark.com/start and scale. You can get instant access right now and start watching those pre-recorded videos in the course. And we are starting a new cohort in February, which is amazing, and I'm really excited. But the doors are open right now, and you can get in if you're excited about learning more and you don't want to wait, because a lot of you have had some specific questions regarding material that we cover in the Profit by Design Academy experience. Second thing is that we are, and I'll put that link in the comment section here. Hold on one second. So you can go to the elkaclark.com/start and scale and read more about our program, the Profit by Design Academy, and what's included in it. And then last but not least, before I wrap this up, is that on Friday, January 16th, although we are doing these lives, and we're going to have another one tomorrow at the same time, and then also Friday at the same time for this series. In addition to that, on Friday, we are doing a design challenge. We are going to be live on Zoom, not here on YouTube, but here on Zoom. And you're going to be coming to this meeting with a Valentine's Day themed product that you created. And we are going to be doing critiques. So you're going to come here to this Zoom link. I'm going to pop the link in the description as well, or in the comment section, and you can register. It's free. And you will come to the Zoom link with a design you've already created. And throughout that hour that we're together, we are just going to be doing rapid fire reviews and critiques. I will be going into your design. I'm going to be moving things around. And what we're going to be really honing in on is talking about why these products are intentional and how I can help you understand a little bit more about your design skill sets. A lot of people really love these sessions because it's interactive. You get advice that's personal from myself and Elka. If there's more comments or more submissions than we can cover in an hour, then unfortunately we're going to just do a random selection or first come, first serve. But you would definitely learn from everyone else's reviews, because there's always advice that you can take away from other people's critiques as well. So thank you so much for joining us. We've got the design challenge on Friday. And also, if you want to jump right into the Profit by Design Academy experience and start watching those videos and get a jump start, because the best time to start is now rather than later, because we are coming up in the next couple of months with some, exciting months, including graduation and wedding and baby shower and everything coming after that, Easter, then the summer months and stuff. You have to post your products for sale at least a month and a bit in advance in the marketplace for it to actually start to come into fruition into the marketplace. It will be posted for sale right away, but for it to filter through the marketplace, you need to have it in and posted for sale a month and a bit before. So understanding that now is the best time to jump in and get started is your best bet. So thank you so much for joining me, and we'll see you tomorrow at the same time, and we will meet on Friday. Dolores says, do we send our Valentine's Day products before on Friday? No, you come to the Zoom meeting with your link, and when we show up on Zoom, you will just post your link in the chat, okay? So you no need to pre-submit, do anything. Just make sure you have a Valentine's Day themed related product ready by Friday at that time, which is, one more time, I'll show it, January 16th at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, okay? All right, we will see everyone there. Thank you so much for joining. And if you have any questions about the Profit by Design Academy experience, please let me know. We are here to answer any questions that you might have. All right, bye.